You mentioned after the Oregon game about this being kind of the first time you've played a team that on paper people would look at and say you should beat since the Santa Barbara game. So what are the challenges in preparing a team to play that kind of game at the end of the season compared to maybe back then?
Well, on the one hand, it's our last game. We're still, well, whatever chances we have, we're still trying to fight to get an NCAA tournament at large bid. It's senior night. Andrew's playing his last game, so we do have some things in our favor in terms of motivation and emotion. But on the other hand, you just always want to guard against someone taking a team based on their record, taking them lightly. And there's no way. We have to remember that team took us to overtime at their place last time. So and they beat us here last year. So there's no way in the world we should come out here not ready to go.
How is your team different than the first time you played earlier in the season?
I just think we're a little more organized and collectively as a group in terms of what we want to get accomplished. I think we understand our purpose more on the defensive end right now. Back then, that was early as the third game of the year, I believe. It was our first road game. And I just think we're a more mature team right now than we were. Yeah.
Do you think that you guys are playing better basketball now than you were then?
There's one thing that we don't have that we had earlier, and that is we were winning. We felt good about it. Well, I should say we were 2-0, I believe. I forget. Yeah, we were 2-0 when we played Washington State last time. There was a great belief, and I think there's a great belief now. There was a certain, you want to call it swag or whatever we had. There was a lot of emotion there that in these games, since we have dropped some, that emotion hasn't been there as much. That's the only thing that's different in terms of what we're trying to do defensively and offensively. We're definitely a better team than we were then. As I've said, we haven't been able to quite get over the hump in certain plays. And I've already mentioned games. We had played 2 games already the last time we played Washington State, and Washington State made the third where double overtime with UCLA. We had to make plays to win that game. We had to make a whole bunch of plays to come back from 22 to beat USC. And then in the Washington State game, Andrew just goes in there and dives in the pack and gets an offensive rebound for us to secure the victory. Those things haven't happened in these losses. We haven't been able to get over the hump to quite make those plays. And so it would appear that we have not improved as a team. But I also think the teams that we have played in the second half have improved and have been better. And we just haven't been able to get over the hump to show for it.
Is it just the balance between those close losses? Is that simply just basketball, just how things go, or is that a controllable factor as to where you can say, all right, if we do X, Y, and Z, then we can tip those odds in our favor?
I think there are 2 losses I can point to. Probably we could have controlled it more. We point to Andrew's missed shot against Colorado on the road, but we also, at that point in that game, we didn't play very smart when we had leads. I didn't think we played smart at all. Oregon State game, we were up 6 with just over a minute to go. We can talk about what happened at the end with the clock or whatever, but we had our chances. I would say in those 2 games, I don't know if we helped ourselves in those.
Coach, have you been able to diagnose kind of the drop off on the bench and kind of what's happened there in terms of scoring and production?
Just, maybe guys lost a little confidence a little bit in that regard.
So is it more coincidental that it just happens to be those guys collectively?
It could be. It could be.
You talked about loyalty and leadership and other qualities of Andrew. Is there something else that you haven't talked about that's been really vital to your program in this transition?
Aside from what we talked about with Andrew?
Yeah.
The fact that these guys, a lot of them came from winning programs, have been very successful. And they not only had a high self-esteem of their own abilities, but a high self-esteem in terms of what they could do within a team concept and how they felt they could raise the level of their team's play, because they've done it a lot of times before. I think that had a lot to do with early on, with us being able to pull some games out. There was just a nice, real good, high belief that we could win games, as well as, I don't think there's been any jealousy amongst this team, amongst the teammates. They seem to all pull for each other. And those are subtle intangibles that help you do well in any given season.